our prep. And excited to be with you. I'm going to locate us for a moment here. It is July 22nd, 2023. I am very happy to be here with you. And I have an exciting class planned. I'm also just going to name that we have, I don't know, about 65 folks on right now from all around the world. So if you are joining this by recording, know that you are practicing with a really beautiful international community, and come join us in person sometime, because it's special to connect and hear people's voices and stories. If you are new, and I know that we have quite a few new folks here today, I want to share a few kind of principles of practice that I think create the optimal, most enjoyable, safest, kindest experience of the kind of classes that I teach. Because what I did when I created this online class was I merged together my general community class and my therapeutic yoga for trauma class. This is really an all levels class that I offer here, which means that we typically start out really gentle and start out with some vagal toning and joint rotations and self-applied touch, and just this really kind of nourishing, close to the ground experience for the first bit of class. For some of you, you're going to get to about 30 minutes into class and say, that was good for me. I feel like I got enough. And then from there, we move into more vigorous movement. We stand up, we do some what we'll call power poses together. We'll really strengthen, empower, enliven your body. And for some of you, that's going to feel awesome, and you're so excited to get to that part of class. And some of you are going to be like, okay, that was enough. Or you might do a little bit of that. So really gauge it. And then of course we come back close to the earth before we close out for Savasana. So core principles of class. One is that you are your own best teacher. Listen to the cues that you receive from your body, mind, and breath about the state of your nervous system. Allow that awareness of the state of your nervous system to give you feedback. Do you want to kind of uptick the practice? Do you need more breath, more movement? Do you want to settle down, rest in stillness? How do you want to work with the breath? Honor your body, your pace. Let your breath be the guide. Class is 90 minutes, Tina. And so, again, like knowing what you're in for and how long you want to stay for. Each posture is an opportunity to explore, make it your own. Really, you get to embody and enjoy and really let the shape be the home base for your exploratory movement. In all of this, there is nothing to perfect. There is no goal to achieve. I invite you to follow your instincts and make the practice a unique expression of you. Have fun. Let yourself find your inner joy. Stop and rest as often as you'd like. And please let this practice nourish your body, mind, and soul. So, theme for today, I'm calling today's class Your True Nature. Your True Nature. And we'll dive into perhaps one of my most favorite intersections, which is the way that, most of you know enough about me to know that I have a deep passion for the natural world, right? Deep passion. I'm out there every day. I'm taking photographs of the clouds, of the mountains reflected in the water, of the flowers when I get up into the mountains, right? I mean, it is just that soul language for me. What I also love about play on the yoga mat is that we get to embody nature. We get to be the tree, the mountain, the cat, the cow, the dog, right? And that there is a playful quality when we get to interact with the natural world as it lives right here inside of you. And a few other pieces that I'll say about today's class. One is that if and to some degree all of us are coming here with our nervous systems navigating stress or trauma, because that is just part of being human. And if at times you touch what feels impassable, impossible, intolerable, it is in these moments that we really must trust and tune into something else that helps to hold us. That we must trust that the story doesn't end there. And that sometimes, at least for me, it's about actually stepping out, about letting yourself touch into something else that nourishes you, whether that's stepping onto a yoga mat or stepping outdoors into nature where you observe the sunrise or the sunset, something that is an action. It's because faith isn't simply a process of waiting. It's an active exchange between your will and the world. I want to say that again. Faith is not simply a process of waiting. It's an active exchange between your will and the world. Rather than being passive, you must take action in order to create change. This action might be a willingness to take a deeper breath, to feel just a little bit more, or to feel more fully, to reach for support, or to receive it when it is given. And even when we cannot find another soul to hold us, it is your engagement with something larger than perhaps we find in just another person, right? It's the sense that in some way or another, the world has your back. I remember one time a student of mine, and I'm not sure if she's here today, shared with me the moment that she experienced surrendering into Savasana and feeling that the floor wasn't going anywhere, right? It can be something so subtle to experience that feeling of being held. Physically, today's practice is about engaging the solar plexus. And right here, I'm wearing very vibrant colors, kind of on purpose. We're going to light up the inner sun. And we'll do some with the core of the body. We're going to do some gentle twists to nourish your digestive organs. We're going to do some Kapalabhati breath today, if that is right for you. That's a breath of fire. It's going to fire things up just a little bit more. We don't always have that in class. So if you're new and you're not so sure, go gentle, go light. This class is also about courage. It's about the courage to focus on love, even in times of fear or despair. Courage, my favorite quote, some of you have done my class called The Courage to Create. You can find it on the YouTube channel, and I shared this there as well. This quote comes from Rollo May in his book, The Courage to Create. And he says, courage is not the absence of despair. Rather, it is the willingness to engage in life in spite of despair. You are called to engage in the act of creating your life, knowing that difficulties and losses have and will continue to happen. Yeah. So this next quote is my own from the Therapeutic Yoga for Trauma Recovery. This journey to the heart, because what we will do in this practice is we're going to fuel all of this in the solar plexus. We're going to bring it up to the heart so that you can shine your own courageous, wild heart fearlessly into this hurting world that we share. And this journey to the heart invites you to soften and let go of your defenses so that you can more easily align with your true nature of kindness, generosity, love, and compassion. All right. Settle in. I have a poem to share, and then we're going to be moving together. So just let the words of this wash over. The poem is called Your Natural Soul. It is by Claire Dubois. Whether or not you know that you are beautiful, the flowers gaze at you whenever you walk by. When your heart feels like stone and you've lost sight of the gifts being given, you are still held by the earth beneath you. You are kissed by the breath of the trees. When you've convinced yourself that you are hopeless and you simply can't fulfill the role that you were born to play, you were born here to play, the sky is still whispering your name. And the stars are waiting for their chance to sing to you. You are wanted here. You are part of this creation. Let your hurts melt away in the waves. Let your cries be carried by the birds. Earth, air, fire, and water are the truth of you. And when you drop the veil and open to the greater you, you will find your fullness in the valleys and the groves and bow again to the sacred altar of your natural soul. Let's do that together, shall we? Okay. I'm shifting onto my yoga mat. If you are joining for this portion of practice, I'll invite you to do the same. Shift my view. And welcome again. Take a moment and tune in to what has brought you here, to what inspired you to want to show up today. What is the state of your nervous system, body, mind? What are you bringing with you into this practice? How does your breath give you feedback about that? What are the emotions that you carry with you? Those precious vessels, the place that actually become the portals to something, right? So all of that, all of you is welcome here in your practice, on your mat, in your space. And knowing that we're really connected in a worldwide community, a worldwide web here. Maybe you have some clarity about your own intention for practice today. I will share with you the intentions that I'm bringing for us today. The first is to connect to your true self and to bow to the sacredness of your natural soul. With all of that, I invite you to take a moment and rub your palms together. And then to slow that down and to really feel that contact palm to palm. Just allowing yourself to move mindfully, sensing the contact of your very own skin, giving and receiving. And then we'll take that quality of touch, and I invite you to bring your hands to your forehead, just sweeping from center of forehead out towards your temples, across your cheekbones towards your ears. And then from shoulders down to elbows. Releasing your hands for a moment, and we'll come into breath. I'll invite you to start today with the Ujjayi pranayama. And this is a warming breath. So we'll bring a little bit of concentrated sensory experience into the throat. If Ujjayi is new for you, you can start out breathing out of your mouth, and we create this sound like you're fogging up a mirror. And that wakes up the whisper muscles in your throat, wakes up through the inner ear. And then I'll invite you to take that same quality of breath, but we breathe in and out through the nose. So the same auditory quality or audible quality is there. Good. And we're going to bring that Ujjayi with us as we come into movement. So this quality of rotating upper body around your pelvis, around your legs, and inhale that oceanic sound as you come forward. Exhale as you sweep back. And then as you find that exhale, drawing your navel back and letting that facilitate a massage across your digestive organs. And then going in the opposite direction. And with all of these movements, it's really that inner listening that helps you find your own rhythm with breath and movement. You might even find little pockets of sensation and pause there, wiggle around in there. Good. And then coming to center, I'll invite hands to shins, ankles, and inhale, drawing your heart forward, and exhale back. Just moving rhythmically, a seated cat-cow, allowing that Ujjayi to still facilitate this movement of breath up and down your spine. This quality that we can begin to find expansion to some of those areas of tension that may have developed, whether it was overnight or over many, many years, right? That expansion across your rib cage, your chest, letting your diaphragm expand, belly. You may even sense this quality that the breath gets to extend all the way down to your tailbone, to your pelvic floor. We're going to keep the same flexion extension in the spine, but hands to shoulders. Exhale, elbows together. Inhale, open wide, stretch, lengthen, maybe lift your chin, open your throat. And then moving rhythmically here. And next option is to open your arms wide like wings, expand. And then as you contract, maybe press palms together firmly. Inhale, open. Exhale all the way to empty. Really press the air out. Again. One more. And then soften, release, pause for just a moment. Notice what's changing already, even in these short few minutes of practice thus far. And we'll come into side bodies, beginning by leaning to the right, just allowing yourself to let the right hand ground to the earth, and your left hand, you've got options. You can keep left hand on your left hip, or you might reach left arm overhead. You can look down to the side or up. And again, just a little bit of rhythmic movement. And here we have a contraction in one side body and an opening in the other, really sensing both sides of this. Good. One more to this side. And we're going to stay with the same directionality here. This time, right ear towards right shoulder. You might even take right fingertips just to support your head. And then let your left hand reach away, your left arm. And you can use your left arm here like a lever, just letting your arm lift and lower, finding those sweet spots in the side of your neck. And you can also let your chin lift a little or lower a little. And now using your breath, like you've got a little balloon in the left side of your neck, and you want to breathe right into that. You might add on here, letting your eyes gaze towards your right elbow. And then letting your eyes reach in the opposite direction towards the left corners of their sockets. And then eyes to center, head to center. A brief pause between sides. Gorgeous. Side two, leaning to the left. Left hand to the earth. And again, right hand might stay on your hip, might come overhead. And feeling both that quality of contraction in the left side body and opening in the right side body, rib cage, diaphragm, lung. And then returning to center. And this time, left ear towards left shoulder. Maybe your fingertips give support. And then exploring breath and movement here. Letting your right arm maybe reach in the opposite direction. You can take it slightly back or forward. Chin can lower slightly or lift a little. And your breath is your tool of change. So allowing yourself to explore breathing into the right side of your neck. Maybe adding on, taking your eyes towards left shoulder or left elbow. Taking your eyes to the right corners of their sockets. And then eyes to center, head to center. A moment to recalibrate and receive. Good. From here, very gentle twist. Inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, we're just going to turn to one side. And we're moving with the breath. Inhale, center, and exhale to the other side. And just a few more like that, just feeling that rhythmic movement, integrating left and right sides of your body, your brain. Breath and movement together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. This time, inhale, exhale. I'm going to the right. Pause there for a moment. Maybe join me just so the sides make sense for a moment. And then as you pause, finding length of your spine, exhale as you deepen your twist as you gaze over your right shoulder. Now, perhaps hooking left hand on your right knee, and you might find a little traction as you lean away from that. You might even lift your right arm up overhead. You might gaze up to the side or down. And once again, it's a combination of a twist and a opening of your side body. And not there long. Inhale back up through center. We inhale, arms overhead, and exhale, coming to the left side. Lift fingertips behind you, finding length of your spine, and exhale, deepen into that twist. Maybe your chin turns, your gaze follows. And this time, right hand grabs hold of your left knee. It's a little bit like Twister, isn't it? And then we're going to lean away, a little traction of that hold between hand and knee. And then as we lean away, maybe your left arm comes up overhead. You might gaze down, forward, or up. Listen to your body and find that sweet edge of sensation. And remember, you can always back out, go into that lighter, less extreme stretch. Really listen to your body, your teacher. And then we lift up one more time, perhaps arms up through center. And exhale. All right. Leaning back just enough to take your right foot forward and some joint rotations here. Right foot around your right ankle in each direction, just a few sweeping, circling movements. And then around your knee, shin in one direction. It's fun to see you do this. Wonderful. And the other way. Good. And then from here, I'll invite you to take a hold of your whole leg here and find some nice circular movements around your right hip. One direction and the other. And these can be very little circles, right? You get to choose the range of motion. And you might even find a little rocking motion side to side. You can keep hands to foot, knee. You might take elbows to foot and knee, rocking the baby, right? And really just honoring, listening, your body, your range of motion. And then from here, leaning to the left to take your right leg behind. So we're in a deer shape with legs. And then beginning to find, again, a very gentle twist to the left and coming in and out with your breath. So you might keep your hands kind of rooted down on your hips, your legs. You might choose to lift your right arm up and then back down. And hopefully there's some quality of reaching for the yumminess, right? Like let yourself feel how good it can feel to come in and out of this twist. We're not going towards anything aggressive. Remember, it's supposed to feel good. And you could even lean down. You can really just explore from this home base in your legs. How does your body want to wriggle in and receive and arrive? Good. And of course, you can stay here longer if you'd like, our next shape is to send right leg long out in front. So in a classic Janu Sirsasana shape, head to knee. And we're just going to find some sweeping movements with hands greeting the skin of your right leg. Little arrival moment here, so that even the forward fold doesn't have to be a goal to achieve. It's something that we're leaning toward, reaching into, finding the edge of sensation. And lifting up from here. And we'll find a little twist toward the left. So once again, just like we did cross-legged, right hand can kind of hook onto left knee. And some of you did this with me 2 weeks ago. Don't worry about grounding that right sits bone. It's okay to let the right sits bone lift up in this twist. And then from here, you might resettle that right hip as you lean away. So just like we did seated cross-legged, we're going to hook right hand on left knee and just lean towards the right. Your left hand can stay on your hip or come overhead. And just feel that beautiful stretch in there. No goal to achieve. And then up and out we go. Beautiful. Planting left hand. Lifting your hips, maybe lifting into a little variation here of a gate pose, a heart opening, a little wild thing in here. Settling your hips, maybe one more fold over your right leg. And let's just repeat that last segment again. Left hand plants, hips can lift, let it feel delicious. And settling your hips. And leaning in towards your right leg. Gorgeous. Let's find all of that on side 2. Starting with ankle circles in one direction and the other way. And shin circles around your left knee, both directions. Yum, yum, yum. And then nice big wide hip circles. In the journey of getting to know your body, it's always good to know where are your tight spots, which is your tight hip. Yeah. Okay. Nice circles in both directions there. And you might take that into that rocking motion side to side. You might even bring that rocking a little bit closer to your heart. Good. And then we unwind left knee towards right foot, and we're in deer. And some nice space here for you to explore this shape. Maybe you're twisting towards the right. Maybe you're uplifted. Maybe you're bowing in. I love this particular shape with movement. It's so, for me, it really opens up into the fascia around the psoas muscles, but in the most gentle, inviting way. So there's, again, nothing forced. Good. One more like that. And then through center, leaning to the right to extend your left leg long. And with our sweeping motions, both greeting the skin on the top or back of your left leg, and it takes you into a little bit of a forward fold. Remember, nothing forced, no goal to achieve. And then as we lift up here, we find that twisting action toward the right and letting your left hip follow along for a moment. And then resettling left hip and beginning to find that lean. You can hook left hand onto right knee, and maybe you begin to lean toward the left. Reading your side body. back of your left leg. And then planting your right hand and a little lift and settle. On that settling, you can turn towards your left leg and we'll repeat that again. Lift and settle and fold. Beautiful. From here, I'm going to turn myself to the side and we'll find a little bit of deer play again, side to side. So with both feet about mat widths apart and just letting both knees fall one way. You can follow the twist around with your upper body and then through center, knees will go to side two and you can follow around. And you might find a little place where you want to pause, stay, reach, breathe. Or you might really like that rhythmic quality going from side to side. Good. And you could even choose to play. Some of you have done this with me before. No hands. I can even say it here. My mom's on with us. Look, Ma, no hands. All right. Playing around a little bit just with that core awakening and support as you go from side to side. And guess what? If it gets a little wobbly in there, the floor is not that far beneath you. You get to explore how your body wants to breathe inside of the shape. Good. And then we'll pause at center. In center, I have an invitation for you to come into a reverse tabletop. What that means, and I'll show two options, is that typically we turn the fingertips facing your hips. And then from there, pressing into hands, feet, we're lifting hips. Now, if that's too much on your wrists, of course, you can turn your hands in the opposite direction. So really just listen to your body. We'll just do a few of these. Pressing into hands, feet. Exhale as you lift your hips. Inhale and lower. Maybe coming back to Ujjayi. Beautiful. And then resettling your hips. This time I will invite you to turn your fingertips back behind or even at an angle, enough so that you can really find this opening across the front of your body, this lifting of your chest and expansion across your belly. And it's in this shape that we'll find a Kapalabhati breath or a breath of fire. And it's going to have this quality of and you might be able to see that my belly is drawing back with the exhale. It's kind of snapping back in. And we're not doing this for very long. If this breath is not right for you, and if you have high blood pressure or glaucoma, those might be reasons not to do it, certainly if you're pregnant, and generally not recommended if you are menstruating. So feeling if this breath feels right for you, and we'll do just a short round here. Inhale. And exhale to begin. Inhale fully. Exhale. And whether or not you did the Kapalabhati, what I want to invite you to do here is to take several deep, full breaths. See if you can really fill the entire cavity of your torso with breath and go all the way to empty. Explore how it feels to breathe down across diaphragm, across belly, all the way down to tailbone, pelvic floor. And empty. Feel how it feels to fill above your diaphragm, into your heart, lungs, your throat. One more time, empty. Good. And I'll invite you to come all the way down onto your back. Taking a moment once you arrive there to receive, to integrate, to notice state of mind, body, emotions, breath, energy. And our next series here is about waking up through the core of your body. As I mentioned, some more of that inner sun or solar plexus here. So drawing right knee in, if that feels right for you, we're going to clasp around the right knee and send your left leg long. Now your left leg can stay rooted on the floor, or you might hover, right? And you might stay with your upper body on the floor, pressing your leg, your lifted leg, your bent leg into your hands, resisting with your hands. You might lift through your upper body as well. And whichever shape you're taking, you get to choose how active, how much press, how much resistance. And then slowly soften, let everything go. This time, hands behind your head, and you can keep your right leg bent or you can send it up long. And again, you might hover your left foot. You might lift through your upper body. And we're going to hold here for just a few breaths in whichever version of this challenge you are choosing. One more layer on this one is to then add on a twist toward the right. And then through center, settling left foot, right foot to the earth. You might send everything long, give it a stretch for a moment. And then bending left knee in, clasping around your left shin. You might keep your right leg grounded, or you might lift it and hover. You might lift your upper body and hover. You can send left shin into your hands, resist with your hands. Let there even be a little bit of a shake in this action. And then releasing down for a moment to place hands behind your head. Your choice, keeping left leg bent or lifting it tall towards the ceiling, hovering right leg if you'd like, lifting through upper body if you'd like, and breathing here. Maybe adding on, twisting to the left. And then planting right foot, coming back through center. Wiggle it out for a moment or give yourself a long body stretch. And next layer here, next add-on is hands behind your head. And I'll show this in two options. One, it will be a traditional bicycle going from side to side. And the other will be straight legs, choosing your challenge. And we take this from side to side. Inhale, center. Exhale to each side, your rhythm. Beautiful. Back through center. A moment, just drawing your knees in. You might even rock a little bit from side to side or find some circular motions here with your knees and hips. And then last one here. Soles of feet together, knees wide, hands behind your head, and exhale, drawing elbows and knees to touch. Inhale, lowering down, extending legs long, and finding your own range of motion. Here, you can keep these very small, or you can open up more. That's totally up to you. There's something really powerful in I call these clamshells, really sensing that feeling that when knees and elbows touch, that there's this very tight action, like you'd have to pry that clam open, right? The power of that. And two more like that. Then the next time that you come in to that tight shape, maybe free your hands, pressing them onto the ceiling. Hug everything in tight. You're in a supine crow pose, Bakasana. If we were flipped all around, you'd be balancing on your hands. Okay, let it all go. Little teaser for some of you that know this routine of mine, where we're going, or if you don't, you might guess. And again, you can rotate your hips. You might send everything into a nice long stretch. And then bringing everything back in and rocking on your spine. That feels good. After all of that, eventually rocking up and over your shins, we're going to meet in a tabletop. And then take your time in this new shape and integrating all that we've done thus far. The core strengthening, the spinal awakening, the joint rotations, and letting this home base be the opportunity for your own exploratory movement. How does your body want to move in this moment? Imagining you are your favorite animal just waking up from a nap. Gorgeous. Okay. So we will find a little bit of guided play here. If you are still doing your own movements, stick with them, join when you'd like. The first guided process here is to send your left leg back, and you just do a few heel rocks here. And then from there, sending right shin back and rolling to the inside edge of your left foot. And just taking a moment here in this supported side plank shape. Maybe you send your left arm overhead. And again, we're going to find the side body in the shape. And now our next movement is a little different. So let's kind of listen, play along. We're going to take right hand toward left foot. We're just kind of leaning down and then back up. And we'll repeat that again. Leaning towards left foot. Maybe you take hold and opening it back up. Now, when I'm doing this, I'll show it from another angle here. I am sending my hips back. So if that helps to see from a different angle, it's like you're sending hips towards your right heel as left hand greets left foot. One more time. Good. And then from here, back around through table. Good. Right leg back, some heel rocks. And then, pardon me, left shin back, rolling to the inside edge of your right foot, and then pausing for a moment here in this supported side angle shape. And from here, as we send hips back, right hand is going to extend towards right foot. And we'll move between those two shapes here. Here. And exhale, maybe hand to foot or in that direction. Beautiful. We'll do one more like that. And then back around, tabletop. From here, invitation is to curl your toes under and we'll press back into first downward facing dog. So make it yours, maybe walk it out. Personally, I love to lift up onto the balls of both feet and send both heels in one direction and the other. You can do so with straight legs or bent legs. Another option from this shape is to lift through each of your legs, maybe going straight up, maybe stacking your hips, maybe even bending your knee. Maybe some nice big wide hip circles. And of course, taking that on both sides. Again, you can keep your hips parallel. You might open your hips. You might bend through the knee. Or take those big wide hip circles. And we meet in downward facing dog. And this time walking feet out wide to the edges of your mat, and then walking your hands back towards your feet, coming into some version of a squat. That might be high or low, depending on your knees and your hip flexors and your hip flexibility. And whichever version you're taking, this initial squat, I'll face you with it, is really an opportunity just to get in there. So, excuse me, some movements from side to side. You might be lifting one heel as the other lowers, and you might be up here doing something kind of similar, just with less intensity in the knees. So finding your way in. Let it be a form of rewilding. Some of you have done my rewilding class. If you haven't, you might go find it and enjoy that one too. This journey of close to the earth and exploring what you got today. Great. And then from here, the invitation is we'll make our way up to standing. And I like to really reach through the hands, feeling that pull, that curiosity that lifts us, pressing into your feet, your legs, that lifts you all the way up. Right. Wow. And we're going to repeat that. So gather, gather, gather as we come back down, we root. And then from that rooting, we rise. And gather, gather, gather. Root and reach to rise. Beautiful. And then a pause, a moment to stand, to receive, to experience this new relationship to gravity. Checking in with a few comments that came in here, just making sure all is well. Yes, good, good, good. Beautiful. All is well. And as we come into standing, this is that transitional moment. We've kind of already made our way there, where there is more invitation for those power poses and a little bit of vigor to our practice. So some of you might say, that was enough today. Thank you, thank you. And if you're ready or seeking or wanting a little bit more, come join us here for this next bit. So the first layer here is we'll come into the spinal movements. We found these seated. We're going to find them standing. The first is a side bend. We'll take this side to side. Good. The next is flexion and extension. So letting yourself really curl in. I like to take my forearms together and inhale, expand. Your range of motion. Good. One more like that. And then next spinal movement here will come into a twist. This twist is inspired by Qigong, and it's really just allowing yourself to swing, to let your arms swing around, and they actually often land towards your kidneys if you let them kind of give a little bit of active pressure as your hands naturally land on your body in these twists. Exhale, exhale. And then slowly letting the twist come back into stillness. And we pause once again, maybe feeling a little bit of tingling, an awakening, a movement of energy. When we're doing any of these energetic stances, I'm going to recommend, especially in that pause, to really soften through the joints of your knees, letting that energy course not only upward from pelvic floor up, but really through your hips, through the joints of your knees, ankles, through your feet to the earth. And then coming towards the front of your mat, if you're not there, and inhale, I'll invite you to draw your arms upward, maybe taking your gaze up. Exhale, finding a forward fold. Inhale, we'll find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Listen carefully. Inhale all the way up to standing. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Planting hands, stepping back. I'll invite you to press back, downward facing dog, and to roll it forward into plank, like a wave coming to shore. And then bending your knees through downward facing dog, we press back and exhale, rolling forward to plank. And one more time. As you arrive in plank this time, lowering knees. Maybe keep your hips lifted as you lower chest, chin to the mat, and then settle everything down. A few rolling cobras here, hands placed beneath your shoulders, sending your tailbone long, grounding into the legs, the tops of the feet, and inhale as you find some lift. And it's your choice how much weight in the hands, how much range of motion you want to find with your spine, with the lift of your heart. 2 more with your breath. And then from here, I'll invite you to transition through tabletop, but you can always do something more vigorous if you want, and eventually meeting in downward facing dog. Knowing that if downward facing dog is quite challenging, and if you're seeking more rest, child's pose is always available for you. Sending your hips back, resting into the earth, or resting even inside of this challenging shape. Hands pressing downward, hips lifting. And then we make our way forward, and you get to choose how you want to do that. You can tiptoe your way forward. You can hop forward. Okay. Listening to how your body wants to make any transition. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. This time, exhale, clasping hands, drawing knuckles down, taking a moment right here. And then inhale to lift your heart. Exhale here, just staying for a few breaths in this lifted shape. You can always release hands, place them onto your lower back, your sacrum. And perhaps with clasped hands, lifting back up, inhale and exhale, forward fold. You can widen your feet as much as you'd like, finding this yogi mudra, head beneath heart. Seal of yoga. And slowly, by way of your sacrum, releasing your hands to the earth. Inhale, we'll find that halfway lift again. And exhale, hands plant, stepping back. Option high to the earth, high to low plank to the earth, or high to midway plank here, and rolling over your toes. Maybe you come into an upward facing dog, right? Knowing that you can always come to earth for cobra, rest, and child's pose. We meet in downward facing dog. And then once again, your choice, how you make your way to the front of your mat. Hop, step, walk, crawl. And from this position at the front of your mat, toe heel your feet wider. We're going to meet in that squat shape again. Now I'll face you for this for just a moment. And option 1, stay just as you are. Stay in the squat, maybe finding that exploration, stay in the higher version. Option 2 is we have an option to come into that same shape we found on our backs, but with your hands. Yes, it's an arm balance. So choose your challenge. In this shape, we begin to lean forward with knees connected to the backs of the arms, just like our clamshell. And maybe feet come off the earth. Maybe they come to touch. Everything compresses into that tight shape. You press the earth away. You fly for a moment. And then, settle feet to the earth, whether you Flew as the crow or not, no matter, no better, no worse. And then toe healing, feet back together. We find chair pose. Chair pose, bend in the knees, maybe a moment here just to feel that flexion, extension of your spine. And then neutral spine, neutral tailbone, lifting through your arms. Bending just a little bit deeper, seated in that chair. Inhale here. Exhale, sweeping your arms back. Maybe interlacing your hands once again, that lift of your heart. Maybe lifting your heels. Woo. And again, balance is a play, is an opportunity. It's a feedback system. All right, releasing feet to earth, sweeping arms up, forward fold, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, your way to downward dog. Yes or no, do you want a vinyasa? Do you want to press back? Are you resting in child's pose for this whole next sequence? If you're choosing to continue, invitation is to lift your right leg up and behind. Exhale, forward and through. Maybe blocks for a moment, just a little bit of warming up in a lunge shape. First time here today. You can come in and out, left knee can be lifted, you might lower it down, you might even give yourself a little quad stretch. Good. And when you're ready, I'll invite you to plant your left foot down. And we're coming into warrior one. So you can widen the space between your feet widthwise and maybe shorten it lengthwise. I'll invite you to take your hands to your hips as a transition up to standing. You can come out of that bent knee for a moment and come back in. And, shift your stance as much as you need to. Hands on hips. I'll invite you to open and close your hips for a few breaths. Just feeling that open shape and then closing them towards the short side of your mat. Experiencing that grounding down of the outer edge of your left foot, the bend of your right foot, that squaring off, and it doesn't have to be perfectly squared, right? Feeling that edge of where your pelvis says, that's my stopping point, and then perhaps drawing your arms up overhead. Can you find that movement of breath across the whole front side of your body here? And on an exhale, releasing your hands, maybe interlacing them behind you. Inhale, finding the lift of your heart. And exhale, folding in. Let your head be heavy. Opening not only into your right hip where you might feel this, but also the back of your heart. Let your neck release, jaw release, eyes release, shoulders let go. And then from here, releasing your hands to the earth. So we're back in our low lunge. And from here, I want to show a few options. We're going to lift through your left heel. So take a moment to kind of re-square your hips into this low lunge shape. Option one is to find an open twist, turning towards your right thigh, lifting your right arm up overhead. You can also have a block underneath your left hand. So if I show this from a different angle, I'm turning like this. Option 2 is to turn your right foot, really ground down into your left hand, roll to the outer edge of your left foot. You might walk your right foot down the mat a little bit and feel this supported side plank in this shape. Yeah. Going back here, feeling that shape. Now you can always, option 3, lower your left knee, send your right leg back. So if any of these shapes feels like too much, find your variation. We're not there too long, so coming back to your downward facing dog when you have felt enough there. And we find all of that on side 2. Inhale, sweeping your left leg. Exhale, forward and through. And maybe with or without blocks, a few breaths here to greet this side of your body, what it's holding, what it wants you to know. Maybe that quad stretch in there, if that felt good. Maybe you're preferring a little more stillness today, all welcome. And eventually, we're grounding into right heel. We're preparing for warrior 2, and widening and maybe shortening the stance. And then hands to hips. Pressing into your feet to lift your torso upright. And then opening and closing your hips. And letting yourself dance and play in the shape. And eventually, perhaps preparing to come into warrior 1, grounding into the outer edge of your right heel, your right foot, deepening into the bend of your left knee, turning towards forward with your hips, and maybe lifting through your arms. There is so much going on in this shape. Can you embrace that complexity and breathe here? Maybe coming back to that Ujjayi pranayama. And then exhale, releasing your hands, clasping them behind you if that works for you, or maybe taking a strap in your hand, lifting through your heart. And exhale, folding in. When you're ready, releasing hands to the earth. And here's where we have those options. Turning back into a low lunge, lifting through your right heel. Option 1, open twist to the left. Option 2 is from that base. We toe heel the left foot out and maybe roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. Maybe even taking left arm overhead. Gorgeous. And then coming back through, planting both hands, stepping left foot back to meet the right, and walking your feet forward. You can find that soft bend in your knees as a transition up to standing. Okay, a little balance play. One more standing flow, and then we're to the earth. Our balance play is going to be from the home base of palm tree. So this was a topic 2 weeks ago that we spoke about quite a bit after class, was how to enhance or increase our capacity for balance if that's a challenge. One of the ways that we do so is going to be what we're going to play with here right now. So with your feet together, I'll invite you to lift your heels off the floor. Okay. So we're going to come into a little balance. Now, you can have your hands by your sides. You might choose to have your arms up overhead in that little balanced shape. And from this chosen shape, both heels lifted, I invite you to close your right eye. Just the right eye. And then open it. Maybe you come out of balance, maybe you come back in, and close your left eye. And open it. All right, how are you doing? Third layer, closing both eyes. Before you do so, open them wide, really experience the expanse of your vision, and then close both eyes. Whoop. Guess what? If you fall out, it's okay. Floor is right there for you. All right, and open your eyes. Wherever you landed in that one, you can come back, repeat that as often as you'd like. We'll do one more little balance play in our final flow here. Turning towards the front of your mat if you are not there. And we'll find a Utkatasana, bending through your knees. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. This time, exhale, sweep your arms back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And continue. Maybe let something go. Maybe through your voice. Let your breath go. Let that balance challenge go. And exhale. This time, inhale, bring your left leg with you. Eyes can be open a little bit. I always think of Karate Kid in this one. And then exhale as we fold forward, send your left leg back. It is really just a transition, but you can pause in that balance transition as long as you'd like before setting your left foot down behind you. Now you can't see where you sent it. It's a deep trust. All right, let's go ahead and come back around, this time to warrior two. And a brief visit in some of these shapes. Just let yourself reorient your feet. If you landed wonky, right, take your time. Maybe find your gaze, slow it all down. And then inhale, this time we're going to lengthen through right leg, reach away, reverse triangle. And exhale, Trikonasana, long reach and rotate. Hand can come to shin, to a block, to the earth. And gaze can be up, forward, or down. And you can always micro bend into your right knee, really keeping the joint safe. Softening your gaze, lifting all the way up, 5-pointed star. And exhale, hands to waist and forward fold. A few breaths here in this wide-legged forward fold. Let your head hang, shoulders heavy, jaw relaxed. Feeling how the earth is holding you. And then halfway lift, inhale. And exhale towards the front of your mat, bending through your right knee, coming back to a low lunge. Now we have one more choice point. You can come into that gentle twist. You can roll to the outer edge of your left foot, walking your right foot down the mat, just like we did a moment ago, or you might stack your feet, finding a full side plank. We have some balance action going on your left hand and the outside edge of your left foot. Another variation from here is maybe you plant your right toes behind you and find a little heart opener here. Lift your hips, your heart. Whatever gaze you have taken, whatever shape you have taken, returning back to downward facing dog as you feel ready. And gazing forward, hop, step, fly your way to the front, however you'd like to get there. And we meet at the front of the mat. Final flow. You're doing amazing. Bending your knees. Inhale, sweeping your arms. Exhale. Inhale. Let something go. You're awesome. Look at you all staying in for this really big class today. One more. Take your right leg with you. Inhale. Exhale. Remember, this is a transitional shape, this balance. Stay as long as you'd like. When you are ready, grounding your right foot, take your time to reorient your stance to support you in warrior two. Your feet have you. Your legs are so strong, they've got you. Let yourself feel the freedom above that support. And then lengthening through left leg, reaching away. Feel that expanse, that extension, and then long, long reach. Trikonasana triangle. Enjoy. Soak it in. And softening your gaze, lifting all the way up, 5-pointed star. Second time here, this time wrapping your arms behind, maybe clasping, lifting your heart. Inhale. And exhale, forward fold. A brief visit. And then hands by way of your sacrum to the earth. Halfway lift. And we walk ourselves forward to that low lunge with the final opportunity to play. Maybe you stay here, open twist. Maybe you roll to outside edges of your feet. And maybe you find that full side plank. Maybe you step left toes behind and give it all away for a moment. Let yourself open and expand. Before we draw it back in, come back home. This time I'm going to actually just invite you to sit, to come all the way back down to the earth, whatever way you want to face, to shape, to orient. And for a moment, seated forward fold, and that can be right here, right? Just allowing yourself to feel the power, strength of being upright in this shape. Maybe you bow in. Maybe you soften through your knees and soften a little bit more. And then from here, pressing back up, and I'll invite you to come all the way down onto your back. Maybe bring a block with you. Block can be helpful for where we're going here. The final invitation for today is to come into some variation of legs up the wall. And you can literally move to a wall for this, or you can create that imaginary wall, and you might bring a little bit of a lift for your hips with a bolster, a block, a folded blanket. And one knee at a time, drawing them in, sending them up, and letting yourself embrace the reverse flow of gravity here. Those feet, legs that have supported you through this vigorous practice are now suspending in air, and the blood flow gets to very naturally circulate around your heart. Your heart doesn't have to work quite so hard to send your blood up to your brain. And of course, your digestive organs will thank you for this as well. This is a really beautiful place to stay and rest. If you're wanting to come into a more classic Savasana, you can send your legs back down, remove the block if you're using it, and check in with your body. Are there any final shapes that you need to complete your practice? If yes, following those impulses, they're wise. And if no, following the pull, the call to rest into stillness, also deeply wise. Perhaps sensing that this active engagement, this willful practice, which it is, has allowed you to step back out, to engage with the world, to participate in that active exchange between your will and the world. To reawaken your natural soul. Earth, air, fire, and water are the truth of you. When you drop the veil and open to the greater you, you will find your fullness in the valleys and the groves. And bow again to the sacred altar of your natural soul. So today is one of those practices where I really want to encourage you to stay in Shavasana for another 5 entire minutes. And with that said, I want to just deeply, deeply bow with gratitude to you for joining me on this journey of the heart, this invitation to soften your defenses so that you can align with your true nature, that which is capable of generating kindness and care and compassion, love, generosity. With deep gratitude. Namaste.